Welcome to Spotlight on Location as Oakland and the World Enterprises has its groundbreaking ceremony for a state-of-the-art facility which will be part of a re-entry program and business development site in Oakland, California, spearheaded by former Black Panther Elaine Brown and Alameda County Supervisor Keith Carson.
I want to thank Keith Carson, who has been really a hero in using the power of his office and his voice and his history to support this effort, and every single person on this board. Anytime you can put together a brother that did 25 years in the joint with a judge, then you know you have a community coming together and saying that we are going to make something happen on this property.
Today's exciting to me. And I say that because 14 years ago, I remember meeting Jerry Elster, who just spoke earlier, inside San Quentin. Inside San Quentin. Program called No More Tears. Black elected officials, pastors, a number of other elected officials, Senator Hancock, Nancy Skinner, Rob Bonta, a number of other community leaders, a number of judges, a number of community folks going inside San Quentin, going inside Juvenile Hall, going inside Santa Rita, understanding that the people who are in there for breaking the law will be coming back home. Will be coming back home. No More Tears, about 100 guys on a regular basis. We go in almost every couple of months or so. They developed their own criteria for people coming in prison and said, we're going to do an assessment of what your issues and challenges are when you come into the gates. Do you have housing? Do you have a drug problem? Do you have an alcohol problem? What's your educational level? What's your connection back home? And we're going to work on that while you're doing your time in prison.
I stand here today as a representative of Mo Better Food on a property of 0.67 acres or 21,900 square feet, with a vision of converting this abandoned land lot into a food-generated enterprise that will not only provide organic fruits and vegetables for the residents of Oakland, but will also become a place where people once convicted of various crimes will be able to get another chance of participating in the American dream of owning their own business. As I was preparing this speech today, I was reflecting on some of the words of Dr. Huey P. Newton, I believe in his book, Revolutionary Suicide, or To Die for the People, in which he mentioned the direct relationship between schools and Black communities have with the police department. In short, once a bad student is identified at a school, a bed in the jailhouse is being prepared for him or her. This school-to-prison pipeline described by Brother Huey Newton is even worse today than it was 30 years ago. Zero-tolerance policies at schools means that two boys get into the slightest tussle, they go directly to jail. As someone said, too much is given, much is required. California being the #1 state in agriculture, as I mentioned above, means there is a greater calling for us to find a way.
That's right. Can you tell us how this project came about, like the vision?
Well, this is a long time coming. I mean, I go back as far as George Jackson. But going forward, in the last 20 years, I've personally been involved in a whole lot of projects for people coming out of prison and people in prison, because we know the prison population doubled in America between 1994 and 2004, and now we have just mass incarceration. So how do we address that? Do we do nothing? Do we put more people in prison? Do we build more prison? Is this really helpful for the world? And we think it isn't. But most people don't have an idea of what to do. So when I talked to Keith Carson one day, he said, well, what do you think? And I said, people are going to have get their own money and make their own money, because if they don't have their own money, nobody's coming to help us and coming to get us, and nobody is. So this, the only thing we can do is to help ourselves, and we've been fortunate to get some assistance, but we're ready for these people to say, yes, I'll make my own way and make my own business, if somebody give me a platform to build it on.
How much of an impact and a difference do you think this program will make on the formerly incarcerated coming out that don't have a support group?
Okay, I think it'll make a great impact. The reason I'm really here is because I went to prison for a gang-related murder out of South Central Los Angeles, representing a gang that didn't own anything, had no serious vested interest in that community. I know if I had an opportunity like this, I would have a vested interest in my community, and I don't even think that type of stuff would even, it wouldn't have been room for that type of stuff. I think I was just looking for somebody to really validate me as a man first and as an individual. Had this existed, this entrepreneur-like opportunity, I wouldn't need that type of false validation, because I would have been getting the authentic thing.
We're here on the site where Oakland and the World Enterprises are developing a project that includes formerly incarcerated people, the county, the city, local businesses. I'm here with the Turner brothers of Turner Construction Group, who are going to be the developers on the project. Will housing be included in part of this program?
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's going to be co-op housing. It's going to be 4 different businesses, and 2 of them I can think of right hand. And one is the Urban Garden. The second one is an exercise, a gym program similar to 24-hour fitness, but it'll be working with Kaiser patients. And this co-op piece for the housing is ownership. That's what's so big about this, is that we're not only creating jobs, but we're creating ownership with businesses and ownerships in the real estate portion of it as well. So when we create those houses, they're going to be able to purchase them.